This is the definitive test of Australia's two most powerful cars, the HSV GTS and the FPV GTF. We're going to run both cars on two dynos on the same day in the same conditions. But Wheels is going even further to ensure that this test is fair and accurate. We have a spokesperson and an engineer from both Ford and Holden here, and we've even hired an independent and qualified engineer to oversee proceedings. So regardless of who or what numbers have been achieved in the past, this will be the most accurate and fair test of these two cars to date. Let's see who wins. We're here at HSV HQ where we've just picked up the keys to this GTS. And HSV has given us an off-camera guarantee that everything on this car, from the tyre pressure to the fuel to the power from the engine, is completely standard, just as it rolls off the production line. Here we are at Ford to pick up the FPV, and I'm joined by Justin Capicchiano, Project Manager for the GTF. And Justin, can you please confirm that the car behind us is completely standard specification, everything from tyres to engine to fuel?
Yeah, 100% as delivered to a customer off the showroom floor at car stock.
Perfect. All right guys, let's go to the dyno. The tests will take place at two of Australia's most experienced dyno operators, Herod Motorsport and Dyno Dynamics. Test 1 is at Herod's.
Yeah, we've had dynos for probably the last 15 years, so and we're pretty experienced what we do.
So to decide which car is going to go first on the dyno, we're going to use an old-fashioned coin toss. So HSV will be tails and FPV will be heads. Tails it is, so it's HSV up on the dyno. It's important that both tests are carried out under exactly the same conditions. For this reason, our independent engineer, Paul Bottomley, is overseeing the whole process.
Yeah, I have about 20 years experience both at OE level for various manufacturers and also our own business around the corner. Started off at OE level on engine dynos and then moved over to chassis dynos, both there and at our own place. I'll be looking to make sure that the cars are strapped down similar to each other, the same amount of load. Look to make sure that the ambient temperature, or certainly under bonnet temperatures, are similar, and just to give them both an equal chance.
So at Herod's, after 3 runs, the HSV clocks readings of 304, 306 and 302 kilowatts. Unlike the HSV, extracting the maximum power output from the FPV is harder. The GTF has an overboost function that in the right conditions can provide an extra 15% of power.
Basically, the transient overboost is something that we have featured on all of our FPV product. It's effectively a ceiling to the number, so you've always got your 351 and then you operate at a 15% overboost over the top of that. What that means is if the conditions are right, you will always be in that headroom. So what we're looking for is good consistent temperatures through the manifold of about, say, 50 degrees Celsius. 50 to 60 degrees, around there would be good, and you'll see a good solid run.
It took twice as many runs thanks to its transient overboost, but at Herod's, it's the FPV that records the highest output with a figure of 323 kilowatts. We grabbed a moment with Justin after the test.
So we started a little lower than what we thought we'd do. The main reason on that was the car was really ice cold. It's a freezing day today. And although cold temperatures do help us out, we need the engine to get to temp. And the first couple of runs were just that engine just settling itself in. And then you saw the performance coming back once the transient overboost was coming in. Relative to what we were thinking of, it's about where we want to be. So we're happy.
But was our independent engineer just as happy the tests were conducted fairly?
We looked at a couple of things before the cars ran up, tyre pressures, the tying down of the cars and the inlet air temps, and they were all consistent.
It's important to remember that different dynos will produce different results, something Rob Herod knows very well.
Every dyno will vary on the day, the way it's strapped and whatever. Hence why what we've done today, we've been very thorough in what we've done to make sure both cars were the same.
Could Ford or Holden have changed something in the engine to make them produce more grunt?
No. I can tell by looking at the numbers on this mainline dyno, I can actually measure the throttle blade to how far the throttle opens, how much spark it has, where its air-fuel ratio is and what boost it's got. They're the things that we logged today, and all those things are right on the money to where they should be.
Okay, so you're confident these cars are completely...
Oh, I believe they're 100% stock. Yeah, I do.
With one test down, it was time to leave Herod's and head to Lilydale for test 2 at Dyno Dynamics. Like Herod's, the crew at Dyno Dynamics are experts at dyno testing with over 30 years of experience.
What we're going to do is put you on a brand new Dynotech, our new model 4-wheel drive dyno. It's been fully calibrated, fully tested, so it is right on specification, so there can be no question that it's not reading accurately. What we will then do is make sure the car's in exactly the same condition before we put them on. They'll have the same time without their engines running before we put them on. We will then strap them down in exactly the same way using 2 systems of restraint. We'll make sure the inlet air temperatures are positioned exactly the same, and we will make sure every condition we can get, like the pressure in the tyres is exactly the same, and then we'll run them through exactly the same routine with exactly the same operator.
Alan is convinced the results from his dynos are foolproof.
We've probably got the best control system of any dyno in the world because we spent a lot of time developing it. We have 3 full-time software engineers working on our software to make sure that whatever is happening, we know about it and we're taking account of it now.
The results are in, and at both dynos, the FPV decimated the HSV, producing a peak figure of 323 kilowatts at Herod's and 343 at Dyno Dynamics. The HSV produced 306 and 322 respectively. That's an average difference of 19.1 kilowatts.
Yeah, the numbers were pretty much what I expected here. I'm happy with them. The performance came on as I expected after we saw the initial ramp up, a plateau and then come off as well. So that's in line with what we would expect.
So I think the number we ended up getting was 343 at the rear wheels.
Yep.
That's quite a lot. How come Ford doesn't market it as 343 at the rear wheels or even more at the engine?
Yeah, sure. So it all comes down to what's always available. And when we were in there, you saw that the power came up, stayed at that number and then started to drop off. Because that drop off, we want to make sure that we're calling out the exact number that you can get at an everyday number. So that's 351 kilowatts. Anything over that is the transient overboost that we were mentioning before. That transient number is always available, and you're always between the 351 and the 15%, but just where you fall depends on the conditions that we saw today.
We know different dynos produce different results, but Paul Bottomley is satisfied with our tests, given the difference between the two cars is consistent at both locations.
It's what we've come to expect from these professional organisations that you've chosen. Both places did a great job tying the car down evenly, correct tyre temperatures and inlet air temperatures, a fair run for both cars, so I think that you've definitely extracted the most that was available from both these vehicles. Well done.
So the two different dyno tests produce different results, but the key number we're looking at here is the comparative results between the two cars, right?
That's right, yeah. We're trying to compare the Holden or the HSV and the FPV on one dyne and then on another dyne. Although the results were different dyne to dyne, vehicle to vehicle, they were very similar.
No, I'm really happy with how the day went and happy with the performance that we got out of the car. Hopefully our owners love it just as much as we do.
It's been a long and exhaustive day, but both HSV and FPV have left satisfied that we've given both their cars equal opportunity to perform at their best. As for the results, the relative difference between the two cars on the two dynos was very consistent, and it was the FPV that won out on both counts, making it Australia's most powerful car.